podcast where best friends and next-door neighbors, Willow and Lillian, spill the tea on murder, mysteries, and other things that go bump in the night. So get your favorite teacup ready, and let's get into it. Welcome to Cruelty Podcast. This is Lillian, and with me is it's Willow.
Hi.
Hi. I'm not too hot today, so I'm peppy.
Hot.
Oh, hey.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'm okay. So we get to the end of the week, right? And this is before we go to the laundromat. I don't have anything that makes sense left. I'm wearing weird shit, and I'm
Can't
wearing.
see you.
They can't, but I'm about to describe myself.
Yeah, she's got hippie pants on.
I've got like these see-through Aladdin pants on. They're like a black mesh.
Yeah.
They have little shorts in there, so you can't see my hoo-ha. And then I have this cute like little summer dress. It's black and kind of crepey, but my titties have broken all the buttons on it. It's
nice.
obscene. I shouldn't be wearing it
No, I
outside
like
the
it.
house.
It's great.
Thanks. But that's
you.
what we're doing today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I do the world a favor. That's
Yes,
why my
you
neck
do.
hurts.
Yep.
You know, big titty ladies understand. So we're still on medical murders. That's as much chit chat as I feel like doing.
Yeah, you're good.
And I have come to realize something. Like, I was really surprised to find out how many serial killers are drawn to the medical field.
Yeah.
Maybe it was something like sleeping in them, some hidden evil that comes out when they realize they have the power over life and death.
Yeah.
I think it's that. They realize they can harm just as much as they can heal. Whatever the reason, it seems like all my cases this month are serial killers, like all
Right.
of them.
Yeah, all of them.
And this one may be America's most prolific serial killer. And it's definitely New Jersey's most prolific killer. Charles Cullen, not to be confused with the best doctor in all of space and time, Carlisle Cullen.
I knew you were going to do this.
Adoptive father to Edward, who saved him during the Spanish flu outbreak by bringing him over into the vampire lifestyle. Because Daddy Carlisle would never. He would never. That's the only levity you're getting in this entire episode.
I love you so much.
Look, I couldn't help it. There was Cullen. What am I supposed to do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anytime I see anything Twilight, I have to send it to you because.
And just for new listeners who now think that I love Twilight very much, let's be clear. I do.
Yes.
But not
she
because
does.
it's good.
Oh, she loves it so much.
I do. Not because it's good. It's not. It's arguably really just shitty.
One of the worst.
I wouldn't know. I've read way worse. It's just some like older lady was like, you know what? I wish I had a hot vampire boyfriend. I'm going to write a book about it. That's all it is. And with Mormon stuff in there, weirdly. Huh. I like it. I want to say, ironically, I don't like the books. Poo-poo. No thanks. The movies, though, oh, wow. I don't know what's going on. They're so weird. They're so weird. They're just like bizarro. I don't know. They're amazing. They're amazing. And if, like... I don't know.
For reference, I think I've only watched the first one when
seen
it first
them
came out,
all.
and then I haven't seen the rest. I've seen clips of that creepy baby, and I don't want anything to do with it.
Resume?
Resume.
That's what I call her. Resume. Renesame, yeah. I have seen all the movies, but I watched the first one like when it came out on DVD or whatever,
Yeah.
and I was really high, and it scared me very bad when they played baseball. I was like, I don't know what's happening. I'm too high for this. So I was like, I shit-talked the movies for years,
Right.
decades.
Yeah.
But then when they came out on Netflix for a while, I watched them all. I was like, no. David Lynch brilliance going on right here. So that's why I love them. All right, now back to this case, because the fun times are over. This is bad. Let's go ahead with some trigger warnings, shall we?
Yes, please and thank you.
Domestic violence, child sexual assault, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, medical procedural horror, not as bad as your last case,
Sorry.
thank fucking God, and suicide and suicide attempt and ideation. I think that covers all of them. So Charles Cullen worked at 10 different hospitals in New Jersey and Pennsylvania over a period of 16 years. He confessed to over 40 murders, and as with most serial killers, we may never know how many people he actually murdered. The number is said to be up to 400.
Dear God.
Charles Cullen was born on February 22nd, 1960 in West Orange, New Jersey, and was the youngest of 8 children. He was raised in a very strict Irish Catholic home. And I don't like to shit on religion too much,
right.
but boy, it didn't help in this case. Charles's childhood, as he described it, was utterly miserable. And given, well, everything, it's not a surprise, sadly. At the age of 9, he attempted suicide for the first time. He drank the chemicals that came with a chemistry set he'd gotten as a gift.
Oh.
And I don't know why that bothered me so much.
Oh, that's so fucking sad.
It's just so sad. His father had died when he was just a baby, and his stepfather sexually abused him. And I want to take a note on this because, man, I watched every documentary. It's only mentioned in one place, and it said his father abused him, but his father died when he was a baby.
Right.
So it couldn't have been his father. I'm going to assume his stepfather, and that is the reason he said his childhood was miserable in part.
And that's probably why he tried to take his own life.
Yes. And this would be the first of many, many suicide attempts for Charles.
Oh, God.
When Charles was only 17 years old, his mother was killed in a car accident. His older sister had been the driver and was at fault.
Whoa.
Yes, this devastated him.
Yeah.
But more than that, it enraged him. And here's why. So when the hospital called to inform the family, like, hey,
Yeah.
there's been an accident. At first, they did not tell him his mother had died over the phone. They waited a few minutes.
They do that a lot.
They do that, yeah, because they don't want you to freak out.
Yeah.
But he felt betrayed and was angry at the hospital.
Because it gave them hope.
Yes, it gave him hope. And then he felt angry at God because God had taken both his parents. And he had 2 older brothers that died in adulthood. So it's just like the Cullen family was pretty plagued by misfortune and death and abuse. It's just really sad. Yeah. It just seems like they had a lot of dysfunction, and all of these things happened in a relatively short period of time. So he wasn't able to finish high school because of how emotionally distraught he was over his mother's death, so he dropped out. He got his GED and joined the Navy shortly after in 1978. Assigned to the submarine corps, he was aboard the Woodrow Wilson and helped man the Poseidon missiles aboard that ship. Now, these are nuclear missiles, or they're anti-nuclear, whatever. They're big missiles, and I don't think he should have been in charge of them.
Yeah.
Because that's not what we want. So he rose to the rank of Petty Officer 3rd Class while in the Navy. But Charles showed signs of mental instability. Once he performed a shift in a surgical mask and gown that he'd stolen from the ship's medical supply cabinet. And I find that so bizarre. But to be fair, working in a submarine is rough, and it takes a real mental toll on the soldiers who are in submarines.
I couldn't. Nope.
I'm out on that
That's
shit.
the last thing I
Look,
do.
there are a couple places in the universe that you just can't catch me going for any reason. One is deep in the ocean.
Yep.
No, thank you. And space.
Yeah, I was about to say the exact same thing. Down below, up above.
I got one more.
Not for me.
A fucking cave. And I don't mean like a tourist cave. I mean like we gonna wriggle in between 2 rocks.
No.
And there could be water rising at any moment. You know what? Fuck,
Nope.
why make my life a horror movie?
No.
No, thank you. I belong where I'm at in my little house in the woods.
I love caves to just walk in.
Yeah, but I ain't going off in a hole.
Nope. I've seen that stupid ass movie, and I don't.
The Descent?
Nope.
Bitches be cave diving. And I'm not going to be that bitch. If you have not seen The Descent, go see it. It's so
I
good.
just don't like it.
Well, no, it's scary. It's scary. Yeah. You know, I would have, though. If I were in this position, and I'm cave diving because I've taken leave of my senses.
Spelunking.
And, yeah, I'm splunking. And there's monster guys down there.
Yeah.
I'm just going to show them my butt and my titties. I'm just going to fuck my way out
I'm just
of
going
this.
to, hold my breath and dive right in their mouths and just hope.
Whoa,
they just
wow, no fighting
swallow me
you.
whole.
No, I'm just going to be like,
now.
Look, maybe nobody's ever told you how cute you are.
You would.
Almost slept my way out of it like I do everything else. Anyway, back to where. No, underwater in a little tin can. No, thank you. God didn't want me down there, and he put me down there.
I don't have gills.
But my point in mentioning that is that there's a lot of mental health issues associated with soldiers who are on submarine duty.
Trapped in a bubble together.
And you could die at any moment.
It's not like they just go down there for a day or a couple hours. They're down there for a long period of time.
You ever been in like an RV, like one of them like metal ones, like the tube, like silver bullet ones?
Oh, yeah.
And y'all order some Mexican food?
Oh, girl.
Girl, that's what it's like being on a sub. Them farts can't go nowhere. No thanks.
I don't like that.
But that he stole, but this is before medical school or nursing school or anything. He stole a surgical mask and gown and is completing his rounds, like his shift, not as a doctor, just dressed up as one. Yeah.
This is illness.
He is very sick.
This is illness.
So they reassigned him. They transferred him to another ship, and it was a supply ship called the USS Canopus.
So he doesn't say anything as to why he's dressed up.
No.
He just...
Well, that's just what we're doing today.
The USS Cannabis?
Canopus.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'd like to go on the USS Canopus.
That's the submarine for me.
I almost went choo-choo, motherfucker. I was like, no, bitch, it's a boat. Brain is soup. God.
I'm telling you, serial killer research is just so much information.
It's so hard, y'all. It hurts.
I know. We're doing it.
So Charles would attempt suicide several times while in the Navy, and this is what got him discharged in March of 1984. His discharge from the Navy, the death of his parents, the abuse he'd suffered as a child, and his mental illnesses all made him feel powerless. He saw going into the medical field as a way to get that power back. He went to nursing school at Mountainside School of Nursing and graduated. He got a job at Barnabas Medical Center in 1987. It was that year he married a woman named Adrienne Taub, and they would go on to have 2 daughters together. And again, from the outside looking in, things were going very well.
Right.
He had a family of his own now, a good job, a wife, 2 beautiful kids, a nice house. But just under the surface, his sinister urges were starting to emerge. He hadn't been at Barnabas Medical Center for even a year before he committed his first murder in 1988. He also began drinking heavily at this time to self-medicate for his clearly, clinical suicidal depression. On June 11th, 1988, Judge John W. Yingo Sr. was admitted to the hospital Charles worked at because he was having an allergic reaction to a blood thinner, like a blood thinning medication. Judge Yingo was expected to make a full recovery, but Charles gave the judge a lethal dose of insulin in his IV, and he died almost instantly. At first, the staff at the hospital assumed that the judge had merely succumbed to this allergic reaction he'd been having. But after autopsy, the high insulin levels raised suspicion. Now, you would think this would do it. This is the end.
That was the next thing I was going to say.
No. But this is kind of where the investigation into him started. Now, mind you, this is his first year.
Yeah.
And it took 16.
The investigation started, and you're going to wait 400 more deaths before you reel it in.
Now, before I get mad... I mean, I'm already mad.
Yeah.
But, before I get stupid mad, I want to point out that there are no checks and balances at the time that this takes place in the hospital record keeping. There's no, overall system where you can check an employee, check their criminal background, check their psychiatric background. Because if they'd been able to look into his records, they would have seen that he has issues. He's been in mental hospitals. Right. He had trouble in the Navy. He was discharged in the Navy. And he probably wouldn't have been hired in the first place. And, I always thought they're supposed to. Now, listen, we got a lot of nurses working for us, so, listening to us, not working for us. You want to work for me?
Got a payroll.
Yeah. You don't get paid. No, but, we have a lot of nurse listeners, so I want y'all to let me know. I want to know what the procedure is, because I tried Googling and I was just confused. What is the procedure to take medicine from, the pharmacy or whatever and give it to a patient? What is the procedure? Don't you have to sign it out? Don't you need keys? Don't they keep track of all that shit?
Oh, I thought you have to write a prescription.
Well, for example, let's say a patient comes in and they do need insulin. How dare you?
I'm sorry.
Let's say a patient comes in and they do need insulin, right?
Right.
Well, how does that happen? How does it get administered? I want to know that, like pain medicine, like what's the checks and balances for this? Do you have to write, like, I am taking this out of the fridge and I am giving it to the patient?
Oh,
see what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't you have to keep the empties and show, like, here's the medicine I took and here's the empty bottle, boop, boop. I want to know what the procedure is, because these guys are just...
Like now they just scan, like a scan code or something.
Yeah, something like that. But, like, back then, it just seems like, well, I'm just stealing this medicine and killing everybody and nobody's doing anything.
Right. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
that's just what I want to know.
Because, like, there's so much insulin missing at that point with no like, diabetic patients.
So, meanwhile... Charles isn't doing a great job at being a husband and a father, which is no surprise. His drinking is a real issue. His wife noticed that when the neighbor's dog meandered onto their property, it turned up dead from poisoning shortly after. So when investigators asked her, like, hey, what about your husband? She's like, I wouldn't be surprised. She thought that he was guilty day one.
Wow. Can you imagine living in his house with him while you think he's poisoning everybody?
And killing people at work?
And you're like...
Killing animals?
When is it me?
Mm-hmm. She was aware of an internal investigation at the Barnabas Medical Center about the judge's death, and she knew Charles was under suspicion. But little did she know he would later confess to killing 11 people at the Barnabas Medical Center, all before he'd been there. He'd been there less than a year.
Oh, my God.
The hospital immediately investigated the judge's death as suspicious, which caused Charles to quit his job there and move to another hospital, Warren Hospital in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, in February of 1992. At the same time he's getting the second job, Adrian, his wife, starts divorce proceedings. The Warren Hospital has no idea he's under investigation. 2 elderly women at Warren Hospital die of heart failure from a drug overdose shortly after Charles gains employment there. And I will go through the list of suspected, they're more the confirmed victims, although he didn't get convicted of every single one. He did for the bulk of them. Because there's so many, I can't cover them all in detail. So if you hear me skipping around for a minute, I will give each one of their names and who they were at the end.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, in the interest of time, I just can't give them as much time as I'd like to.
Yeah.
Because there's like 39 people.
Yeah.
As with other cases we've covered this month, especially with Willows, a downturn or upset in the killer's life seems to escalate their behavior.
Right.
The murders. Investigators into this case would later see that pattern emerge. Shortly after filing for divorce in January of 1993, Adrian would later go on to file 2 domestic violence charges against Charles. She would describe him as a violent and angry man who delighted in putting lighter fluid into the drinks of guests they had over.
What the fuck?
He tortured pets by zipping them up in bowling ball bags and shutting them up in trash cans and like banging on them or hitting them. He would prank call funeral homes. This is grown-ass man, by the way.
I'm just in shock. Like, I don't...
He is, of all the cases we've covered, I think he's the most mentally ill.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's delusional.
Yeah. Like, this is a lot of effort to do the most random thing.
He does this all throughout. Like, even one of his suicide attempts is really crazy.
Like, he seems like he has a lot of energy.
A lot of rage.
Like, when does this guy sleep?
Probably not a lot. He's messed up. Oh. The dissolution of his marriage escalated Charles's behavior. One elderly woman patient described him as a sneaky male nurse who had just put something in her IV. That something had been the heart failure medication, digoxin. No one took her seriously, and she died the next day.
Whoa.
And Charles was allowed to continue killing people. She literally told, like, doctors and her family, she's like, he put something in my IV, and now I don't feel good. And they're like, yeah, you know, whatever. Listen to people!
Why don't people listen?
I don't know. It's so... It just makes me so mad, but I hear it in my everyday life.
Yeah.
Like, I hear people argue with each other, talk over each other, talk at each other, not to each other. Because we're all just waiting our turn to talk, and nobody's actually listening, and it is madness, and I hate it.
Yeah, there's no, like, active conversations between people these days.
It's... After his divorce, Charles would later tell investigators that he wanted to quit nursing. He would go on to have over 10 more suicide attempts in the next 16 years. However, he claimed that court-ordered child support forced him to keep working. And I just really love how these douchebags always blame the women in their lives. Right. Their wives, their mothers. It's just gross, but it's not surprising. That is, you could have flipped burgers, sir. Mm-hmm. Go work on cars. Fuck. That's like, his excuses are so stupid. Mm-hmm. And later he tells what his motive is, and I'm not going to spoil it just yet, but it's unbelievable. No one would believe him. And I don't. During his employment at Warren Hospital, he became obsessed with a female coworker. He broke into her home where she and her young son lived and crept and creeped around their house while they were asleep.
Fucking ew.
He did not get caught doing this, but then he just couldn't leave her alone. He kept phoning her and leaving bizarre messages. He started following her around town.
It's like the Golden State.
Yeah. See, they all have some weird hang up with women. I swear to you. She filed a complaint, which he pled guilty to. He took 2 months off work and checked into a mental hospital for a while. He would attempt suicide 3 times before trying to find nursing work again. He was allowed to resign from Warren Hospital and was never charged or further investigated properly. And I just want to throw up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this, and I want you all to know something right now. I had 3 suicide attempts. Mm-hmm. One of them very serious. The other ones were more cries for help. I think now looking back. But you mean to tell me you're going to attempt suicide 20 times and never? No? Yeah, I don't think I think it was all about manipulation. Because look, anytime something bad happens, he has an attempt. And they're very elaborate attempts.
It reminds me of those toxic partners who use that as leverage or use that as a manipulation tactic to say, oh, well, if you do this,
if you leave me, I'll kill myself.
And that's really, I mean, I hate to judge somebody on that particular thing because I've also been really suicidal my whole life, but that's what it smells of is
oh, it sure do.
Yeah,
it sure do.
Manipulation.
Control and manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
He had a short stint at another hospital in Flemington, New Jersey before moving on to Pennsylvania. He became a registered nurse there in 1994 in Pennsylvania. While in Flemington, he started dating again, got a new girlfriend, and was, by all accounts, doing well for himself. His former employer there said he seemed stable and was described as hardworking and personable. Charles claims that during this time, he didn't commit any murders. But hospital records there were destroyed, so there's no way to investigate whether this is true or not. But I do believe it is true. Mostly because his life was going okay. When his life was going okay, the way he wanted it to, the girlfriend, the job, people were nice to him, and he could self-medicate but still function, he wasn't killing anybody.
It's when he needed control.
It's when he felt small and weak. That's when he would exert his control over others by killing people.
Dear Lord.
I know it. Things wouldn't remain stable. A year later, his girlfriend broke up with him, and he started killing again. 5 deaths in Flemington, New Jersey. He left before people were too suspicious.
Doesn't that, it just adds so much weight to the other person, though. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know.
I'm just imagining her looking back feeling so guilty.
Oh, I can't.
No.
And investigators, we'll talk about that in a minute,
Sorry.
too. Oh, no, that's fine. I agree.
Yeah.
He worked at Morris Memorial Hospital in New Jersey, but was fired shortly after in August of 1997 for poor work performance. Shortly after, in October, he admitted himself to the Warren Hospital ER for a mental health crisis, but left a little while after arriving, refusing further treatment. You see, there's another attempt when he gets fired.
Right.
People who lived next door to Charles said that late at night, he could be seen chasing cats down the street, yelling and talking to himself. He clearly wasn't well.
Yeah.
And I wondered why he was chasing the animals. I think he was hurting animals.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Because they were small and under his control. He liked having control and power over things. I'm glad his kids got away from him. Fuck. In February of 1998, Charles got a job at Elston Hospital in Elston, Pennsylvania. He murdered at least one person here with an overdose of digoxin. That's that heart failure medication. Yeah. Basically what it does is that if you're getting ready to go into cardiac arrest, this medicine will save your life. If you're not, it will end it.
Gotcha.
So he was giving this to people who didn't need. That elderly woman, he put digoxin into her IV. She was not experiencing heart failure, so this killed her.
God.
Yeah. After working at Elston, Charles moved on to Lehigh Valley Hospital in the burn unit in Allentown, Pennsylvania. He later confessed to murdering at least one patient there and attempted to murder another. He resigned from this job to work at St. Luke's Hospital in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, in the cardiac care unit. This seemed to be his preferred type of place to work in a hospital, was the cardiac unit. I think because it got him more access to digoxin, which was his favorite form of, it was his favorite weapon, pretty much. It was his favorite form of poisoning his patients. And I don't know. It's just so creepy.
Well, and then he'd have more of an excuse.
Yeah.
For they wouldn't be suspicious.
And I will tell you, he had no patient type. Not like Dr. Harold Shipman, who only killed the elderly.
Right.
He was more like our last guy, although I don't know if the last guy even wanted to murder, or if he just...
I don't know.
There's just no way to know.
I'm still confused.
That was such a terrible case.
Yeah.
Made me want to aborf.
Yeah.
But yeah, so... he murdered 5 people there and attempted to murder 2 others. In 2000, he attempted suicide again, this time by putting a charcoal grill in the bathtub and lighting it, hoping the carbon monoxide would kill him.
In the bathtub?
Yeah, just put it in there on fire, I don't know.
Was there water in the bathtub?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's weird.
It is weird. But the neighbors smelled smoke and called the fire department. He was taken to a psychiatric facility, but released the next day. And then he was right back to work.
Wow.
And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many are getting away with it?
Right.
A lot of the reason he was able to go to so many hospitals was that there was and still is a nursing shortage.
Yeah.
Hospitals had no system in place to alert other hospitals about nurses with psychiatric issues or complaints or investigations against them. And there is still no real system like that in place today.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about that towards the end.
I'm learning a lot this month about the medical system and how fucked up it is.
Y'all, listen, nurses need Purple Hearts. They need medals.
Yeah, and they need the ability to speak up and be heard.
Doctors talk right over them and don't listen to them, and it's infuriating.
And it's still that way, and it's basically
who spends the most time with the patients? Right, it's nurses.
Yeah.
I
know.
So, I just think it's weird. Mm-hmm. There was a woman who ended up being the one to kind of basically get a confession out of Charles, who ended his murder spree. The woman who helped investigators catch Charles Cullen was another nurse. And she is the subject of a Netflix movie called The Good Nurse, which I did not watch for this because I read there were a lot of inaccuracies, and ain't nobody got time for that, Willow.
Right. Maybe after this.
I will watch it after this because it sounds interesting.
Right.
The nurse who helped investigators is named Amy Loughran. Amy didn't want to believe the allegations against Charles. She worked with him for about 1.5 years and found him to be a fine coworker. He seemed hardworking, personable, but investigators had been on Charles's trail for years. They just needed, hard physical evidence. I don't know why they had such a hard time. And we'll talk about this in a second because it pisses me off. And They needed proof, something more substantial so they could charge him. And I can't imagine being an investigator waiting for just the perfect amount of proof while all these people are dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And knowing more will die.
It happens so much in these cases because it's like they almost want someone else to die because then they will actually possibly get the information that they need in order to link them to the crime.
I'm not shitting on the investigator. I don't have enough information on this case because the investigation part, I'm not believing the official story exactly.
Well, and there's so much like red tape and closed
Oh, I know it.
stuff with hospitals. You can't know shit about things in hospitals.
Because of HIPAA violations.
And because nobody wants to talk ill about doctors for some reason.
God.
It pisses me. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll let you go.
Well, part of this is that, okay, so they want Amy the investigators kind of help her arrange to go out to have dinner with Charles, kind of implying that she's sort of interested in him, wink, wink, and she can pull a confession out of him. She's wearing a wire, I'm
love
guessing.
Women. Oh my God, that's so
Badass.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Scary is what it
but here's the
is.
thing. So she does this, and she looks him right in the eye, and she's like, I know you're killing people. She didn't even fuck around. And he's like, yeah, well, I'm not going down without a fight. That is not a confession. That would not hold up in court. That could be eviscerated any sort of way. But he gets arrested there right on the spot. But here's the part I would like to point out. You arrested him over a not really confession. You could have arrested him all this time ago then. If that wouldn't hold up in court, then why was it good enough that day?
Right.
Why was it good enough that day? Why didn't you step in sooner? I'm pissed. Something doesn't add up. Mm-hmm. Something does not add up in this case. I just really feel like the ball was dropped multiple occasions.
Yeah.
To go on for 16 years, nearly 400 people? Are you kidding me?
How do you not have evidence at that point?
They did. That's the thing. They had a lot of evidence. They had all these autopsies. They had complaints from doctors and nurses.
He's convicted felon now, and the wire tape didn't hold up in court. So obviously they had enough.
They had enough.
Yeah.
Why didn't they bring?
Yeah.
The answer is I don't know. And I'm going to stop right there because I could go on for like 30 more minutes.
Right.
Jeez. So that was enough to arrest him, apparently. So on December 14th, 2003,
God.
at the restaurant he was having dinner with Amy at, he was arrested. Investigators didn't have enough to convict. They needed a real confession. But now they could at least interrogate him. They got him to confess and take a plea deal. Like, boop, that was it. In April 2004, Cullen pleaded guilty in a New Jersey court to killing 13 patients and attempting to kill 2 others by lethal injection while employed at Somerset Hospital. I did not also include all the hospitals he was at because there were like 10. It's a lot.
And he was like bouncing around.
He is bouncing around all over the place. As part of his plea agreement, he promised to cooperate with authorities if they did not seek the death penalty for his crimes. A month later, he pleaded guilty to the murder of 3 more patients in New Jersey. In November 2004, Cullen pleaded guilty in a Pennsylvania court to killing 6 patients and trying to kill 3 others. As of July 2005, Cullen remained in the Somerset County Jail in New Jersey as authorities continued to investigate the possibility of his involvement in other deaths. Cullen is currently serving a sentence of life in prison without parole for 30 years to be served consecutively with his other sentences in Pennsylvania. On March 2nd, 2006, Cullen was sentenced to 11 consecutive life sentences in New Jersey to be ineligible for parole for 397 years. He is held at New Jersey State Prison in Trenton, New Jersey. On March 10th, 2006, Cullen was brought into the courtroom of Lehigh County President Judge William Pratt for a sentencing hearing. Cullen, who was upset with the judge, kept repeating, "Your Honor, you need to step down." For 30 minutes. He just kept repeating himself for 30 minutes. Until the judge had Cullen gagged with cloth and duct tape.
Holy shit. Has that ever happened in court?
I'm sure, but that's crazy.
Oh, man, that's wild.
Even after being gagged, he kept trying to say, "Judge, you need to step down."
Wow.
In this hearing, the judge gave him an additional 6 life sentences. In addition to the other sentences pronounced on the same day in another county, Cullen currently faces 18 life sentences.
So how many is it together?
18 life sentences.
Okay. I thought you were saying that was an
I said
addition.
accumulative, yes.
Gotcha.
As for motive, Charles claimed it was to spare people suffering and the disrespect of having to be worked on by medical people. He didn't like watching people be brought back from the brink of death just to suffer. Like, he couldn't stand by while people were being resuscitated. It, really bothered him.
What?
Yeah.
He's like, just let them die.
Uh-huh.
But so many of them weren't on the brink of death.
No, I'll get to that in a second. He claimed to black out and not remember most of the murders.
Bullshit.
Yeah, which is bullshit. Which he claimed were all on impulse and to prevent human suffering. He seems to contradict himself several times in his confessions. Sometimes he appears oblivious that his actions actually cause pain and suffering. Other times he seems aware and confessed to wanting to draw out the suffering and watch his victims die. In the end, we'll never know what his real motivation was, but I think we can guess on this one.
Yeah.
It was all about control.
Yeah.
It was all about having life and death in his hands.
He had abandonment issues.
Oh, yeah, he had a lot of issues.
Really, really bad abandonment issues.
Yeah, so, man, fuck that dude.
Yeah.
But I'm now going to go over his list of victims, and it's long, so bear with me. These are the confirmed victims. He is suspected of killing many, many, many more. Like I said, as much as 400, and some people speculate. John W. Yingo Sr., 72, of Jersey City, New Jersey, died June 11th, 1988 at St. Barnabas Hospital in Livingston. He was a Jersey City municipal judge who twice ran for mayor in his hometown. Lucy Mugavero, 90, of Phillipsburg, New Jersey. She died March 9th, 1993 at Warren Hospital. She was a garment worker with 3 children and 8 grandchildren, one of whom later became the mayor of Phillipsburg and chairman of the Delaware River Joint Toll Bridge Commission. Mary Natoli, 85, of Phillipsburg, New Jersey, died July 23rd, 1993 at Warren Hospital. And she was just a hardworking Italian grandmother. I love that. Helen Dean, 91, of Lopet, fucking can't. She was in New Jersey. Whatever word that is, y'all. That's a word.
East Coast has some words.
Y'all. I can't. That's not English.
Massachusetts real bad about that too.
She died September 1st, 1993 at Warren Hospital. Helen was in the hospital for breast cancer surgery. After her death, her son Larry vowed to find her killer, but he too died of cancer in 2001, so he never saw justice for his mom.
Honey.
Leroy Sin, 71, hometown is not disclosed. He died January 21st, 1996 at Hunterdon Medical Center. He was a patent attorney, and he used his legal knowledge to help this club he was a part of set up scholarship funds for kids.
Wow.
Earl Young, 76. He died May 31st, 1996 at Hunterdon as well. He worked as a stock clerk at Flemington Cut Glass. The owner described him as a reserved but easygoing and nice person. Catherine Dext, only 49. She died at Hunterdon as well on June 9th, 1996. She was a supervisor at a correctional facility for women, and she was described as a low-key person who always did her job. Frank Mazzico, 66, died at Hunterdon. He was really busy at that one. He taught for 34 years in public schools. Jesse Eichlin, 81, died July 10th, 1996, also at Hunterdon. He was a farmer and carpenter, and he helped build a Sunday school for his church. Audemars Schramm, 78, of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, died December 30th, 1998, described by his daughter as a man who worked 2 jobs to provide for his wife and 3 children. He was born in Nicaragua to missionaries.
Oh, wow.
Matthew Mattern, 22, only 22,
God bless it.
of Shamokin, Pennsylvania, died August 31st, 1991 at Lehigh Valley Hospital. He is the youngest victim, they believe. He had been burned in a car accident and was there at the burn center when he was killed. And burns are so painful.
Yeah.
Irene Kraft, 79. She died June 22nd, 2001 at St. Luke's. She had 8 children and 22 grandchildren.
Wow.
And she helped her husband run a taxi company out of their home. William Parks, 72, died November 8th, 2001 at St. Luke's. He was a self-employed upholsterer and a Korean War veteran. Samuel Spangler, 80. He died January 9th, 2002 at St. Luke's. His son described him as a proud family man who was a former machine operator. Daniel George, 82, died on May 5th, 2002 at St. Luke's. He had owned a place called Danny's Restaurant Lounge in Hanover Township, and he had 3 daughters and 3 grandchildren. Edward O'Toole, 76, died June 2nd, 2002 at St. Luke's. Navy veteran of World War II and just an all-around great guy. That's how he was described. Eleanor Stoker, 60, February 12th, 2003 was when she died. She died at Somerset Medical Center. And there's not really a lot of information about her. She was the mother of radio personality Zach Martin, and I don't know who that is. Joyce E. Mangini, 74. She was a homemaker, and she died February 23rd, 2003. I cannot say this guy's last name. I'm going to call him Mr. Toto, 89. February 23rd, 2003. His nickname was Jack, and he was a mechanic and operated a vegetable stand. I guess why I like reading about these victims is because all the different walks of life... Yeah. Mm-hmm. And just how normal and average everyday life they were having.
Right.
And how they were probably, and they were loved by people.
And they were part of their community.
They were, definitely. Like, these are all such blue-collar jobs. I just find it really interesting. John Shanager, 83, died March 11th, 2003 at Somerset. He was a milkman and mail carrier.
Oh, yeah, community member.
He had helped to liberate concentration camps in Europe.
What?
When he had served in World War II.
Wow.
I know. Dorothea Hoagland, 80. She died April 6, 2003 at Somerset Medical Center. She had been a homemaker. Melvin T. Simcoe, 66, died May 5th, 2003 at Somerset. And he had been the father of 4. He retired in the early 90s, and he enjoyed growing flowers, his wife said.
Oh.
I know. Michael Strinko, 21, another one of his young victims, maybe the youngest. I'm not sure. It looks that way. He was proud of his physique and his booming car stereo. He was just a young guy.
Yeah.
He liked driving sports cars,
sure.
and he had played soccer and had been on track. Florian Gall, 68, died June 28th, 2003 at Somerset. And Gall had been a pastor of Our Lady of Lourdes Roman Catholic Church. Pasquale Napolitano, I did it, died July 13th, 2003 at Somerset. He'd been a security manager for the village supermarkets, just a grocery store chain. Christopher Hardgrove, 38, died August 11th, 2003. He had been a carpenter and father of 2 young daughters. I cannot pronounce this person's name. I'll have the whole list up on Patreon. Age 70, he died September 20th, 2003 at Somerset. James R. Strickland, 83, September 23rd, 2003. He died at Somerset. Family said he was grieving for his wife when he was killed. He loved playing harmonica so much that one was buried with him.
Oh.
Yes. Edward P. Zizik, 73, October 21st, 2003. He died at Somerset. He was an electrical engineer, and he volunteered at the hospital he died at.
Wow.
Like, he did things like hold babies in the NICU.
I would love to do that.
Those are all of his confirmed kills. These are the names of, and there's only 3, 4, 5. So only 6 attempted murders. Stella, cannot pronounce her last name, 73. He tried to kill her in February of 2000 at Lehigh. John Gallagher, 90. He attempted to kill him on February 8th, 2001 at St. Luke's Hospital. Paul Galgon, 72, of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. He tried to kill him on December 28th of 2001 at St. Luke's. Han, 40, he tried to kill him at Somerset on June 29th, 2003. Francis Aguada, 83, he was at Somerset, and he tried to kill him on August 27, 2003. Philip Gregor, 48, southbound Brook, New Jersey. He was almost killed at Somerset on June 18th, 2003. But you just see these dates, just boom, 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 boom.
Right.
He is just... I would not be surprised if he didn't try to kill somebody every day he was at fucking work. Yeah. He missed a lot of work, too, because of his alcoholism and his mental health issues. But I just think, I don't know.
It was just constant.
All those, just constant, all those, if you go back and listen to each and every date, it's just one after another, after another, after another. And those are the ones we know about.
Right. And have evidence for.
So laws were passed after his conviction to help prevent this in the future, but I think this needs to be done at a national level. Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and 35 other states adopted new laws which encourage employers to give honest appraisals of workers' jobs performance, and which gives employers immunity when they provide a truthful employee appraisal. Many of the laws passed in 2004 and 2005 strengthened disclosure requirements for healthcare facilities, bolster legal protections for healthcare facilities that report improper patient care, and require licensed healthcare professionals to undergo criminal background checks and be fingerprinted at their own cost. And why hasn't this been done since we started?
Right.
I am aghast that that was 2005.
You put our lives in their hands.
Literally. Literally. Sometimes our literal internal organs.
Yep. If
Our
I have
children.
I have to have a license to drive a car.
Yeah. Well, they have licenses.
But still.
But like, so I worked at a pawn shop for a while. I had to have a background check for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
To handle like crusty toasters with cockroaches in them. You mean to tell me that to handle like newborn babies and stuff, you don't get a background check until 2005?
Right.
Y'all, the whole thing needs to be done, or redone. And when I think about all the systems in place that need to be overhauled and redone, I'm just like, where's the meteor? It's too much. It's too much.
The American Medical Association is especially...
Ooh, don't talk shit about them. They will literally come after you.
Whoopsie.
They're great. Please don't hurt me. I don't have any money.
I heard the AMA. I'm going to make t-shirts for us. There we go.
Yeah, please love me. Don't hurt me. Don't sue me. I didn't do it. It was Willow. Willow Wahava. I can give you her address. I know where she lives.
Next
door. That's the end of that. Fuck. So now we're going to begin something else, and that's business time.
Oh.
Yeah, you like that transition? Yeah, you do. So first I want to talk about our small business sponsor this week, and that would be Tiny Sea Crafts. They make excellent keychains, key fobs, lanyards, bags, masks, you name it, like cloth crafty type stuff. They do it. We received from them for Maris's birthday, he got like this little cube, and it like a little zipper at the top, and we put all of our art supplies in there. It is so sturdy, so well made, and the fabric is super cute. You can pick your fabric. I will link everything in the description. Go buy from them. Do it.
And if you follow us on Instagram, we have a special place for our sponsors, and their information is in that on our profile.
That is correct. And in addition, if you are a small business owner yourself, and this means no MLM, no like drop shipping type stuff, you got to make it with your own little hands, your sweet baby angel hands.
That's right.
And then get in touch with us. All of our information is in our link tree and in the description, and we'll get that set up. We'd like to do commercials for you. Speaking of things, Patreon. We have one.
Things.
I don't know.
We talked about some things. You know what else is a thing? Patreon.
That's right. It's a thing.
We are a Patreon-ran business.
That is correct.
That's right.
All the hosting fees, all the equipment that I'm still paying off because... because that was a whole new computer and everything. Yeah. I am currently using our Patreon money to pay off. But here's what our Patreon offers. Weekly bonus episodes. We have also like little episode discussion, mini episodes. All kinds of stuff. You can vote on the theme for the month, depending on the tier. Yeah. So I'm running a contest right now, and I'm running a couple. Right now. So if you leave us a nice review, screenshot it, and send it to us, we will enter you to win.
We've already gotten some reviews, and y'all screenshot them and send them in so we can get you marked down.
That's right. So we can draw the name.
And thank you. It's very nice.
It is very nice. We appreciate it. We'll be giving away a Patreon membership this month. If you want to become a patron right now, you should. But I will also enter you into a drawing for a prize package of some art, jewelry, soap, candles, I don't know, whatever I can fill a big old box up with, valued at least $100, probably closer to $200 range. All you need to do to that is become a patron, and that's for our $5 tier and up, and send me a screenshot of that, and I will enter your name into a little hat. So right now we need to update some equipment. Luckily, nothing huge. We need to replace a couple of cords. They have literally gone out on us mid-recording. It is, thank God, not our audio interface. It's just literally two cords. But hey, Well, I don't have any money. What's that? So if you would like to get a tarot reading from me, I am running a sale on them to fund New Chords, and those are $15 each. Usually I do it for $25. It is a full 10-card spread. I have almost 30 years experience reading tarot. Just message me and we will set it up. It's that easy. And that's all I have for business time today. Hey, Willow, what are you covering on Patreon? I know we're recording the episode tomorrow.
Girl, the Bubble and Squeak murder.
Bubble and Squeak? I don't know what that's about.
And then I have the body cam audio from that, and it's just it's a wild incident. It's
Give me a hook. Why should I want to listen to this episode? What's it about?
Well, it was a fight essentially spawned over Bubble and Squeak. That's what it's
What is
called.
Bubble and Squeak?
Bubble and Squeak is, from what I can gather, is an English dish, and it's a pauper's meal, like a low class type meal that is essentially like leftover potatoes and leftover cabbage from the night before, and you kind of recook it into like this mash that's kind of crispy on the outside.
Can I ask you a question? Is this British?
Yes, it is very British. Yes, it's literally one of the most British episodes I'll ever cover.
So it's potatoes and cabbage.
Yes.
And like a little... Y'all don't look good.
And
Baby.
most people from the UK that have talked about what this is,
Yeah.
they've all said they don't like it. And
Honey, you don't have to eat that.
yeah.
Let me tell you, can I... Listen, as your your eccentric American auntie, let me tell you something. You don't have to eat that.
Yeah.
If you got leftover mashed potatoes...
Just... I usually cook it up with breakfast the next morning, throw some scrambled eggs in it, and breakfast
No, that's fucked up. Don't do that. What I want you to do is take a little bit of flour, a couple eggs, a little
batter fry
paprika,
it.
a little garlic. You fry that shit in the bacon grease. You serve it with some dippy eggs or scrambled if you're a heathen who doesn't know how to eat eggs. And then maybe a
like
little
all
cheese.
eggs. I love
Scrambled
all
eggs hurt my tum-tum. I like
love them all.
I want
Any way
a
you can
good
cook an
dippy egg. Poached or fried is how I prefer it.
good,
Or
too.
omelet. Yum.
I just made omelets for dinner.
Omelets are great. But do that. Make potato cakes. Don't put... What are you doing? Don't just mush it up in a big lob glolly and call it good. No,
with
no.
cabbage. Well, and
Cabbage
so,
gonna make you fart.
Yeah,
That's not how you want to
well,
start the day.
There's a lot of UK meals with cabbage. I'm not a cabbage.
Bless them. Look, during World War II, they did
that all
have
they
pretty
had?
intense food rationing.
Okay.
And that just gave
Cabbage.
birth to a bunch of...
Cabbage?
I fucking love cabbage.
cabbage?
I love cabbage.
I'm not a cabbage fan.
I love cabbage rolls. I love cabbage soup. I love Chinese noodles with cabbage.
It's okay.
I love egg rolls, all full of cabbage.
I think cabbage is really cool. Like the dissection of cabbage, like the design. It's
Beautiful.
It's really cool.
Delicious. I love sauerkraut. I could literally just eat my weight. And so I love... If is it pickled? Your girl will eat it. I love pickled shit. Don't listen to her. She made pad thai with potatoes and peanut butter and should be left out to be eaten by wolves.
Girl.
I'm ashamed.
My peanut sauce is delicious.
Look, peanut sauce is great. It just don't go on pad thai. Pad thai is not peanut sauce. It's pad thai sauce. Totally different. Made with tamarind, not peanuts. Peanuts are chopped up and put on the top. Tamarind is a lot like a kind of a cross between a lime and a tomato, and it's yummy. But you can use ketchup in a pinch. But don't you dare come at me and say peanut sauce goes on pad thai. I'll get a Thai person to come in here and slap you silly.
It's good.
It's peanut sauce on potatoes. You can call it that because that's what it is.
It was good.
I'm going to say no, friends, but that's okay. I'm a food snob and sort of like I'll eat like Spam and eggs. Hell yeah. Fry me up some Spam and eggs. Delicioso. Spam and ramen. I'll eat that shit too. But like, I don't know, just some things I'm like, that doesn't give me a serotonin.
I went to the Spam Festival when I was a teenager.
Why'd you do that?
My friend's mom worked for the company and for like Walmart, you know.
Yeah, I'm making a face because like it's not what a kid would do, but okay.
There was a whole Spam festival and everything was Spam, and I got Spam flip-flops and Spam t-shirt, and they made me eat Spam, and this is all involuntary. And there was even hot air balloons with Spam on it. Like it was, and
They need to calm down.
Ever since then, I couldn't do it.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Spammed the fuck out.
I don't eat Spam even though I'm poor because it ain't poor people food no more. That shit's expensive. $5 a can. What are you trying to sell me? For $5, I can get a pound of ground pork, and I can make meatballs with that, and that's delicious. What are you doing trying to sell spam to me for $5 I'm hot about it. I don't like all the canned meats should be dirt cheap. That's garbage food for garbage people. And you mean to tell me a can of chicken of the sea is $3.50? Oh, Lord, that's a lot of money, and I'm not spending it on cat food because that's what it tastes like until you doctor it up. Brain is soup. Also, before I go, we have merch, and that's soon to be a t-shirt. I've had several requests for Brain is Soup. Yeah. So look for that, and also buy some t-shirts because they're really nice and they're cute, and our logo's fucking badass.
And get you a cup, too, while you're there, because...
Don't tell me you can't use a cup.
It's summertime, and girl, and those
keep
are really
your drinks
insulated,
cold.
too.
They were.
And the logo does not come off.
I've tried. Yeah. I've abused this cup because hey guys, I don't want you to buy something with our name on it that's garbage. So we tested it all out. Right. It's fucking nice. So do that.
I need a tote bag too.
I would love a tote.
Yeah, they've got totes on there.
I know they got totes, but I'm totes broke. Totes. Anyway, hey, if all you can do to support this podcast is listen, thank you so much. I know we have a bunch of new listeners, and I want to say hello. I'm sorry I was this way today. Sorry I was weird.
It'll happen again.
Oh, it will happen again. Yes, for sure. But anyway, that's all I got, so I'm going to say goodbye now. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Us on your social media platform of choice. Linktree/cruelty has all of the links. Check out our Patreon for exclusive episodes, merch, ad-free episodes, live ghost hunts, and much more. Please be sure to subscribe. New episodes are uploaded weekly. Thank you so much. See you next time. Music and production by Libby.